All right. Good evening. Welcome to the Berman Hour. My name is Jeff Berman. It is good to be with you on Tuesday night. Yeah, there's boxes behind me. I'm moving, and it's stressful, and there's a pandemic, but let's have some fun for a few minutes. My guest today is Eat Schmitt from, I believe she's from South Florida. I know that's where she's living now. She has her own cooking show called Eat Schmitt, and that's Eatschmitt, Eatschmitt on Instagram and on YouTube, and it's great, and I'm really excited to talk to her. So I'm gonna bring her in here once I find her. But again, if you have any questions, just send them in to the thing below. Type them in. We'll get to it, probably, not definitely, but probably. So we're waiting for Jillian. I think she's there.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. You've got like a professional fucking setup going on.
Kind of. I got like a little light rig going on.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Did you have to make an investment in a lot of gear in order to kind of start doing this cooking show?
Surprisingly not. All the videos I've shot so far have actually just been on my phone. And I have a little $30 lighting rig that I got off of Amazon. So I actually just bought my first camera with my stimulus check. So so I'm excited to film with that. And yeah, the phone works just as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I noticed in a lot of your videos, I find it kind of endearing that like as you're filming things, the steam of something will fog the lens of the camera on your phone. Because anybody that cooks with glasses, I don't wear glasses all the time, but I do when I'm using the blue light technology, but I'll forget I have them on, and when I'm cooking, it just like, or especially now when having to wear masks all the time, if you breathe too heavy with glasses and you're wearing a mask, then it's like it fogs up.
Yeah.
But so I'm coming from Los Angeles, California right now. You are where?
I am originally from Cleveland, but I'm currently living in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. How long have you been in Florida?
I've been in Florida for 4 years. 4 years now? Just over 4 years, yeah. I moved here in 2016.
Great. Why start a cooking show? Do you have any formal training? What was the impetus behind doing this?
It kind of just happened. I was making some Instagram stories about, I think it all started off with a mushroom, to be honest. I was getting ready to saute
What
some
kind of
mushrooms.
mushroom?
I know, right?
Okay.
Not magic mushroom.
Okay.
But I was getting ready to cook some mushrooms, and I've always been taught that with mushrooms, you should not get water anywhere near them because they're essentially little sponges. So when you get water near them, they soak up that water and they hold on to it. So when you cook them, it's hard to get them brown. So if you just take a damp paper towel and you wipe them off, that'll prevent them from soaking up the water. So I just started a story like that on Instagram, and a lot of people, and I know that a lot of social media influencers say, I got so many requests in my DMs, but I legitimately got, I think like 20 or 30 people saying you should start a YouTube video. So I just did it.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's a good way to start, with that sort of encouragement. Did you have any goals when you first started? Because you're still relatively new at this. I think I've seen 3 of your videos. If there were more, I haven't seen them yet. But I was just watching the noodle with the ginger pork thing earlier. What are your goals, and has it kind of evolved that you've really gotten into the process of making these YouTube videos?
So the goal is to just share the love and share the knowledge. I don't have any formal training whatsoever, but my brother is a chef. I come from a long line of really great cooks, and I used to work for Iron Chef Michael Simon, and I've worked in a lot of really great restaurants. And you just kind of soak up the knowledge along the way, and it's something that I have such a deep passion for. So I know that a lot of my friends kind of have a fear of cooking or just kind of feel overwhelmed by it. So what I try to do is make it easy and fun to kind of cook along without feeling a little bit of knife shy. when it comes to cooking, because you can watch like Food Network and get really overwhelmed just by seeing them do it with ease.
Yeah, and those personalities are kind of bullshit too. I don't know. You said something that kind of piqued my interest, or kind of piqued a thought. My friend, his name is Race Director in here. His real name is Alex, but he has the shadiest Instagram name I've ever heard. Race Director. He's Jewish. Everyone, don't worry about it.
Very eugenic.
he's one of the few friends I have that really loves to cook, and I will talk to him about what we're cooking, and his wife loves to cook too. But a lot of people, I think, from our generation are kind of like more prone to takeout, or more prone to kind of the Trader Joe's things where everything is kind of set up for you. And now we have all of this like meal delivery services where you can follow the easy instructions and all that stuff. When you said that you worked for these chefs, did you work front of house and you just had to go? All right, so same. How many times did you get yelled at by these chefs?
Oh my God. Well, I always tried very hard because, like I said, my brother was a chef, and we usually always worked in the same restaurants. So if I ever misstepped in the kitchen, he really let me know when I got home that what I did was not okay. So it was very, it was kind of like being baptized by fire when it comes to the kitchen. Because if you don't know and no one tells you, they're going to hate you. And the last thing as a server, as a bartender, as a hostess, is to have anybody on the kitchen staff hate you. So you have to really learn quick what to do, not to do. Yell hot, behind, coming in sharp, corner, all that stuff. If you don't say that, and my brother and I, when we lived together, we used to say that to each other while we were cooking in the kitchen at home. Yeah. So you just have to be cognizant of their, I guess, culture is what you'd call it.
Yeah. Yes, chef. We chef. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, chef. Yeah. I remember one time we were having a meeting before we opened for dinner, and we had all these new cheeses that were delivered, and I'm a cheese guy. That was my background, and they knew that. So one of my coworkers, someone from the bar, was like, "What about this Pleasant Ridge Reserve cheese from Wisconsin, whatever?" And he asked it to the chef, but I just kind of butted in and I answered, and I was like, "Well, it's a raw cow's milk cheese from Upland, Wisconsin, and blah blah blah." And the chef didn't say anything. But that was like strikes 1 and 2, and I didn't know that. And then something happened later on in the kitchen where like I answered a question that somebody asked because I thought it was like not a rhetorical, but they were putting it
open forum.
Yeah. And the chef tore into me, and he was standing there with this knife. He's like, "Fucking Jeffrey, you better learn to shut your fucking mouth." Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "Oh my God, like I'm gonna get killed." But by the end of the shift, like everything is good. It's unique. How would you describe that sort of education that you get working in a restaurant, working in a kitchen, and the relationship between front of house and back of house? Because it's really, it's unlike any other work environment I've ever been involved in.
Yeah, it's either you love it or you hate it, and it's there is no in between. And when I was living in Cleveland, I worked for a French restaurant. We had a fromagier, so it's kind of funny that you were talking about that.
Oh yeah, nice.
It's something that you can go to culinary school until you're blue in the face, but it's not until you're in the weeds, you're in the thick of it, that you actually know, until you stick your hand to get a loaf out of the bread oven and you get burns up and down your arm. But at the end of the day, not everybody's going to have that type of education. Not everybody's going to work in a restaurant. Yeah. So it is, I think everybody should have to, because I feel like it just molds your brain in a way for life in general, because it's so fast moving, and you have to have that core, that family core of like a good shift. Like, you look at the schedule for that night and you're like, "Oh great, I'm closing with this person," or I've got this person in this section. Yeah. It's going to be great. And then you end the night, and it doesn't matter how many times the chef blows up on you, or if you dropped a plate, like a tray of glasses. At the end of the night, you all come together, and it's just, it works. But I think education by working in a restaurant is definitely, it goes so far in just everyday life, not just in the culinary world.
Yeah, I say to my wife, like, very frequently when we're out at restaurants, if I see something, I'll lean over her and I'll say, I would get fired for that. Like, if we're at a table and
Yeah.
you know, we're kind of like one of the last few tables, and they start breaking down the other tables around me. Like it doesn't bother me, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I'm not that much of a stickler. But if I would have done that where I had worked in the places I had worked, there would not have even been a discussion. I would have been
Right.
fired as soon as I walked back into the kitchen. So yeah, that's really funny.
I can't sit facing the kitchen. Because if I see something, my boyfriend and I went out to brunch one time at this place in Pompano, and they had just plates stacked in the window, waiting for hands, waiting for an expedite, waiting for service to come get it. And they literally held the food underneath the salamander to warm it back up before they do. And I was like losing my shit. I was like, get me the fuck out of here. I can't handle it. Because
Yeah.
I was having a panic attack. So I knew if I ever did that, it was a brand new restaurant too, and I was like, that doesn't seem like it's gonna last a long time.
Yeah. Do you still have dreams that you have
Yeah.
a full section and you just can't get anything fired? You can't get anything. You can't get anything to the right table.
I have dreams that I forgot something, like I forgot this person's serviette, or I forgot this person's ketchup, or something like that, and then you're like, oh, it's been 5 years since I've worked in a restaurant, but it's haunting.
If they don't have it now, they're never gonna fucking get it.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back to the show. One thing I like about how you do your shows is that it's not fancy. The food's not fancy. The food looks really good. We'll talk about that. But your approach is kind of real and not fancy. And you fuck up and you swear and you fuck up your phone and you catalog the fact that you're looking at Instagram as you're cooking. Are you afraid of fucking up food while you're cooking it and you're kind of making these shows, or is that purposely part of the charm? I guess I'm asking you to really spill your secret, but
yeah,
spill it. Yeah.
I think it just kind of comes with the territory, because at the end of the day, I want people to know how to fix a mistake. Maybe they want to go pour in some salt into a dish and the lid pops off and there's a ton of salt poured into the dish. How do you save that? How do you feed your family after you just messed up your entire sauce? And it's something that I think is necessary. Again, you see all these cooking shows that magically the dish is done and it pulls out of the oven and everything's perfect, but that's not real life. That's not what you do when you're in the kitchen. Yeah. So I try not to make a mistake, but I welcome it if I do make a mistake, because it gives me an opportunity it's a learning opportunity for other people to see how you can fix that error.
Right. So you started putting some tidbits on Instagram stories, and that led you to want to do a YouTube show. Mm-hmm. In doing the show, what have you learned about yourself as a cook, and what has made you a better cook, and vice versa? What about cooking has made you a better YouTuber?
Wow. Okay. So I guess that's kind of a deep one. I wasn't prepared. I
was.
I know, right? I think what YouTube does for me as a cook, it allows me to kind of stop and take my time a little bit. I have a tendency to be just very quick with everything, and I honestly stumble more because I try to be so fast, and that it's not a race. There's no point in me be going so fast, but I think YouTube has given me the opportunity to slow it down and to take a second, because I know what's going on in my brain, but you guys don't know what's going on in my brain. So it has given me the opportunity to stop and take a step back and actually think it through, rather than just saying, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to throw this whole head of ginger in there instead of like a quarter of a teaspoon. Yeah. What was the other part of that question?
Well, no. I mean, if doing the show has made you a better chef, or what you've learned about cooking, which you kind of answered, but what about putting together a meal and the cooking process have you learned, if anything, about the YouTube process?
It definitely, I never realized how long it takes with YouTube to get everything that you need from start to finish. Because you have to stop and reset and, okay, well, I'm going to go over here and do this angle, or I'm going to do this. So when it comes to the cooking process, it's really just everything's elongated, and you have to do a lot more prepping. I definitely think a lot on the fly, and I don't measure, and I just kind of throw things into a pot and hope it works.
Yeah.
But with YouTube, you have to be precise, because if somebody that doesn't know how to cook or is new to cooking or feels overwhelmed, they're just like, wait, how much was that? What did she just put in? And with each video, I notice things, and I try to improve on the next video of, oh, I didn't even film this part of me adding potatoes and carrots to this beef bourguignon at 11 o'clock at night. I forgot to film that. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, next time. And honestly, quarantine has given me a lot of time to kind of reflect as to what I want to see. In my first 3 videos, I really just kind of filmed like, oh, I'm getting ready to cook this thing. Let me film it. As opposed to, let's have an actual structure to the segment as to like, hey, this is what I'm cooking. These are the ingredients. This is what's happening. So
Yeah.
I think just having the foresight is what I was missing before.
Yeah, and as you're putting that foresight together and you're getting ready to do a specific dish for a YouTube show that you're doing, do you think about the performance part of it, or do you just kind of let what comes naturally to you, that almost as if like us as the viewers were a fly on the wall watching you cook in your own kitchen?
Yeah, I don't like to write a script. I don't like it to be I just like it to be organic, where my true personality comes through and I have the opportunity to look and act like a complete dork on camera, because at the end of the day, that's just kind of what happens. I feel like when you spend too much time thinking about what you're going to do, at least for me, I end up not performing, or not performing, but I end up not getting across my personality. It just kind of sounds like a robot, as opposed to winging it, and then my personality shines through.
Yeah, I think that is YouTube kind of in a nutshell, is that the information on there is great and it's certainly plentiful, but you have people that are personalities that come across that I think people gravitate to and can understand, whether it's, you know, cooking something or, you know, putting up drywall or whatever the tutorial is.
There's one, sorry to interrupt, there's one thing that drives me crazy about YouTubers, especially right now. There's 2 things. There's,
yeah,
hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing blah, 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 blah. I hate that. It's like nails on a chalkboard. And another thing is, usually when people are doing voiceovers, there's like this sing-songy tone that a lot of girls take on, with like, and today I'm going to be making beef stew, and it's just like this. You don't talk like that to your friends, and it would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
To hear that. So I just like to keep it very organic.
Yeah. What is the favorite thing that you've cooked on your show so far, or
It's
you think
actually
has turned out the best?
The very first one, the pork sambal noodles.
Okay.
That's honestly like kind of a return meal. It's very good. It's very, very good.
Yeah, it looked easy. It looked inspiring. I'm gonna try that at some point.
Fantastic.
We don't cook with ginger a lot in this house, but that could change. What is your favorite food? It's kind of a cop-out question, but I'm curious. What is your favorite food?
Korean, anything Korean, but generally Korean barbecue. I have a huge love for Asian culture in general, but Korean especially, that's my favorite.
And that's probably going to be the last sort of restaurant to come back, I would think.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, LA is a big Korean food town. We have more Korean than we do Chinese or Thai or Japanese. So the restaurant culture in LA truly reflects that. And man, the Korean barbecue out here is very good. And just like every meal is just kind of like an event. Some of them are more sports bar type. Some of them are more authentic. But it's always good. But fuck, we miss it. And we're not going to have it before we go, obviously. And some of them are doing takeout, but I can't imagine just getting all that raw meat and trying to cook it in the same manner.
And it sucks because in what I've found in South Florida, I don't mean to like brag about Cleveland, but Cleveland has such an like crazy food scene. The food scene in Cleveland is incredible, and I just don't see that down here in South Florida. I've lived in Miami, I've lived in Boca, I've lived in Tampa. I just have not really seen much especially Asian culture. And I've been to a few down here in South Florida. There's one or two that are really, really great, like Gabo's. If you're in South Florida, Gabo's is fantastic, but it's just not, it's not there. And it's something that I really, really miss, and I will travel for food. So
Yeah, yeah. I see Endless Fight Booking, which I believe is Paul Pincus in South Florida as well, who's a great.
Oh, I love Paul. He's great.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. What can we expect? What's coming up in your future shows, your next handful of shows? What are you going to be making?
So I have quite a bit of a laundry list. One of the things that I did, again, during quarantine to step back and really analyze my channel is I made a list of over 100 videos that I want to accomplish. But, you know, to the people here on the live, one thing I've been really kind of breaking down and trying to analyze and see how it could actually be accomplished. Joanna Gaines just came out with a second cookbook. And if you're a basic bitch like me, you love Joanna Gaines, and everybody, I mean, this is her second cookbook. So there's a movie that came out back in the early 2000s called Julie and Julia, where it's this girl who follows Julia Child's cookbook and cooks every single recipe in under a year. So I have my type A mentality, broke down the entire Joanna Gaines cookbook and have an Excel spreadsheet of different recipes and how it can be accomplished within a certain period of time. So it's going to be Jillian and Joanna. But that'll be a series that's coming up. And
that's cool. How many dishes is it?
So there is 528 recipes total. But there are multiple recipes that could be in one video. Yeah. So it wouldn't be too overwhelming. I just filmed a chopped episode where Kai, my boyfriend Kai, told me that go hide in a room essentially, and I came out and there's a cooler on the countertop, and he made me. I don't know if I even released that one. No, it's still being edited. So in the cooler was a bunch of things that I had to throw together. So it was a chopped episode. And I have a knife skill video coming up so people can feel a little bit more comfortable with a knife, which is step one in cooking, really. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I think that's really great. It's a lot of good information. I had no idea that you work in restaurants too, which kindred spirits for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kai, your boyfriend, who virtually introduced us, because we've never met in person yet. But Kai said something about that he was Chip, and now that I think about it, I think he could pull off a Chip Gaines cosplay.
He's very Chip-like.
He is, yeah. He looks like him too, like especially when the hair gets a little longer. But my last question is, you wouldn't, under any circumstance, cook your dog, would you?
Absolutely not.
All right,
she's my best friend.
Just making sure.
The times are tough. I mean, listen.
Shout out to Dorothy Moreland. Both Dorothy Morelands, I suppose. Both Belmos. Well, Jillian, thanks so much for being on my little talk show here. I hope that you had a good time, and I hope that you get some new followers out of it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. I'll be watching your videos, and when I'm in my new house, I'll be trying them out, ready to cook, ready to get it done. So thanks a lot for being on the show. Everyone else, thanks for tuning in. This will be live or on the Instagram feed for about another 24 hours. My guest tomorrow is a congressional candidate from New York City running for fucking Congress, Mel Gagarin. So I hope to see you tomorrow. I think it's also going to be at 6 o'clock. So Jillian, thanks again. I'll see you hopefully soon, and stay safe.
Thanks. You too.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.